Hey, good morning, y'all. It's about 6:30 in the morning. It's not terribly cold out. I'm gonna go for a run, and we're gonna talk a little bit about vegan Nazis, I guess.
This is a world
premiere.
This is a world.
Deciding what you want to do is easy. The hard part is justifying that shit. And I think in the case of the vegetable police, he's having a really hard time justifying something that he just wanted to do. You know, you don't find yourself in a t-shirt with the word vegan over a swastika by accident. You talked about yourself, you talked about your Jewish heritage. You know, you said you were sort of like part Jewish on, I think, your mother's side maybe, and then you talked about, well, basically in a paragraph you went from being part Jewish to being everything kind of but Jewish. So yeah, I definitely think that there's a touch of internalized oppression at work, and for people who don't know what that is, I explain it a little more fully in my video on Milo Yiannopoulos. I can only imagine that when suddenly you came upon this material that justified for you denouncing of your own heritage, your own Jewish heritage, it probably felt really good. You probably felt vindicated in your own discomfort about your Jewish heritage. One thing I will say, watching your video, I didn't learn anything about Zionism. Your video did not focus on Zionism. Your video spoke mostly of Jews, and leads me to believe that you're simply conflating Jewish people and Zionists into one lump. There also seems to be a question of credibility and whose history you are willing to find credible. You seem to be willing to embrace the antisemitic view of history, which again implies that you somehow find these Jews immoral or stupid, right? Either they're lying or they've been tricked into believing a history for themselves that is untrue. In either way, it's somehow expressing a view of inferiority for Jewish people. But there are deniers, and there's a movement of deniers for the Holocaust. And it seems to me that you might have spent more time in your video explaining to us what the Holocaust denial movement is all about. If you really wanted to get at truth, if you really want it to be balanced, if Zionists are responsible for the existence of a Jewish state in Israel, what are Europeans responsible for? The Americas would not be what they are. The Caribbean would not be what it is without the violent intervention of Europeans. Europeans have made violent interventions all over the world. In Asia, currently in the Middle East, and in Africa. And yet you single out the Zionist as the Jewish movement. And you make some pretty outrageous claims, dude. You know, and I was shocked by some of them, and I began to question. And so I just did a little bit of research and was able to basically dispel all of those claims. The whole idea of Anne Frank's diary being a fake, which, you know, is so easy to believe. There was an article back in the 80s in the New York Times talking about how Anne Frank's diary was bequeathed to an institution by Otto Frank, by her father, and that they spent years authenticating it. I think if, again, the only other alternative to going and verifying these claims for yourself is to present all of the versions and allow people to decide, instead of just presenting one that fits with your particular worldview, which again, I have to insist is an anti-Semitic one.
You say you're not racist, you say you're not an anti-Semite, but you certainly have some pretty anti-Semitic views. And if you can have anti-Semitic views and still think you don't, then as far as I'm concerned, you can have racist views and think you don't, you know, which is true. And I'm sure that there are anti-Semitic views that I hold because of ignorance, right? But if somebody's pointing it out to you and you still want to hold on to it out of pride or stupidity, whatever it is that you want to hold on to this particular truth that you're holding on to, then you're just digging it in deeper, Mike. You're just convincing me more and more that those views may not just be coming from ignorance, but are really a deep desire to believe the worst about Jewish people. And I don't know what that's about, but you know, something that you just might want to look into, especially if you say, as you say, you share some heritage with Jewish people. Yeah, so you know, go get educated. Go educate yourself. Don't believe, you know, you were saying that we're all blind sheep for believing, you know, for going along with something that has been accepted as truth, with the mounds of testimony, at least, that we've been handed. But you've been handed, you know, you've watched a couple of videos on YouTube and you say yourself that it's ridiculous, yet you still choose to believe that. So again, I'm just saying, you know, and you've made a second video about this, trying to kind of weasel out of what you've done. So, you know, you've uncovered, you know, you got about 700-800 likes on that video. That's 700-800 people that you've, you know, reinforced similar beliefs. So it's not even a question of just somebody who is ignorant, which is more excusable than somebody who knows what they're sharing is probably bullshit, which is basically what you said. You said, this is probably bullshit, but I'm gonna share it anyway. And you share it with, you know, you got about 22,000 subscribers that you're sharing this with. And this video is not gonna have nearly the reach that your video had. So me making this video is not undoing what you did. Nothing that anyone can do is going to undo what you've done. The only person who can undo what you've done is you. So you need to go ahead, if you really want to be, you know, seen as not anti-Semitic. I mean, man, you made a damn, I mean, you know, if I could say if, you know, people who think that, you know, being anti-Semitic means that you're basically a Nazi, but you're basically saying you're a Nazi. So dude, you ain't got nothing to lose, right? By being called anti-Semitic, right? But I'm saying if you really want to be fair and really find the truth, share people with the real deal, right? Share with them the fact that, you know, there's a whole movement of Holocaust deniers. Share with them the evidence against some of what you shared in your video. Tell them what Zionism really is and what that movement really is and what they've done, not just like what you found on Wikipedia, right? Go deep and go hard like you did for 22 minutes in a video that was sharing profoundly anti-Semitic views. All right, so for the rest of you, that's it for this video. Like it if you like it, share, comment, subscribe. This is Reg signing off. Love yourself. Peace.
And I love myself. The world is a ghetto with big guns and dick inside. I love myself.